Absolutely. I'm going straight to the Mets. Going straight to the Mets. Griffin Canning. What I've seen from him, like, think about him being DFA'd at one point and then coming over to the Mets now.
Yeah.
Their rotation is the best rotation in baseball. But one of the biggest reasons is because you've had a guy go from a huge ERA jump, like not a great ERA, to one of the better ERAs in baseball now. And that's been the biggest jump amongst all starting pitchers. But I like this idea that he's made the adjustments. Getting ground balls, two-seamers, making sure guys are hitting the ball on the ground. You know me, I'm all about finding what is different for guys that is now working that wasn't working.
What adjustments they made from year to year.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is a player that had to make some serious adjustments. David Stearns took an opportunity on him and he said, let's go, let's run it. And he's ran it.
And a lot more sliders.
And I talked to, we were talking about UCLA earlier, I talked to his old head coach, John Savage at UCLA, and he had a bad outing against the White Sox, and he mentioned that was the Angels' Griffin Canning. Then he was, but then he bounced back. Last start, bounced back, did an amazing job, got back to doing what he did against the Dodgers at his hometown. So Griffin Canning is one of those dudes for me.
Okay, so you have a pitcher. Do you have a position player?
Absolutely, Ryan O'Hearn.
Love that.
Ryan O'Hearn, Orioles been the most consistent piece there. And also a guy that's made some serious adjustments, especially in the power department. He doesn't miss mistakes now. And when you think about how rough it's been for the Orioles, who have played a little bit better, he's been that one constant piece and probably the veteran piece in there that's like, hey, guys, we got to figure out how to pick this thing up.
That's a great pick. Yeah, because
he may not be like
things are tough there
the
in Baltimore
superstar,
right now.
But it's like, hey, I'm going to keep doing my job, and everybody else needs to fall in line, too. But he's done it. I've loved what Ryan O'Hearn's done. The numbers are there, too.
Okay, so you were just talking about Griffin Canning being a new guy from Anaheim. We're going back out to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Zach Neto, you're working the draft now. Before you were working the draft, I was working the draft. I got to be Zach Neto's first interview after his name was called in the draft, which was such a special moment. I just, not only do I love this kid as a human, but what he's doing at short. I know he missed like the first part of the season due to injury, but what he's done, this is going to be a really fun full screen we're going to take a look at. 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases since last May. Look at the company he is keeping. Shohei, J-Ram, Francisco Lindor, Corbin Carroll, Bobby Witt Jr., and O'Neal Cruz. Like, he is doing a lot of special things there with Anaheim, and I think that's what, Ron Washington, Bo Porter, they've all been singing his praises. They're so excited to have him on the mound.
Offense now. He's
instant offense. It's all the offense. It's exactly what he's doing. On the mound, Chris Bubich. TJ, 2 years ago, right? Then he's a reliever last year, and then he goes off this year, back in the rotation. What an amazing opportunity. He's making the most of it. And, oh, by the way, do you want to know what his ERA was in the month of May? 0.56. Look at that record. Look at those numbers.
The numbers are dumb. Like
so
opponent batting average in those 5 start. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so impressive. I mean, he never had a full season ERA lower than a 4.43 prior to this year. So really fun to watch. And he's only 27 years old. So it's like he's getting this new lease on life or on his career. So I want to see him in the All-Star game.
That's good. That's really good.
It's going to be hot and humid in Atlanta, but he'll be fine. He'll be good
City representation, baby.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
I like our picks.
Really good picks, right?
They got to keep going. They got to stay consistent.
No case of the Mondays there for Kerry Carpenter as we get you into extra credit. Probably one of the reasons that the Tigers are so dominant this season. What about his approach at the plate not only caught your eye, but is something that young kids can learn from? Oh,
I love how you say young kids because he has mastered count leverage. The ability to get himself into the right counts and make sure that he does damage in those counts. And I want to show you first, go back to those 3 home runs from the other night because, look, this is an example of what he does so well. Here you got a 1-1 count, which is, excuse me, a non-pitcher's count. You're thinking non-pitchers counts 0-1. You thinking 0-2, 1-2. Those are all pitchers counts. But we'll call 2-2 even. And even the ability to get a 2-strike approach down to where he's still looking to pull something, get it in the air to the pull side. When he's ahead in the count, he's better than most guys. And that's the ability to make sure that I'm looking for one specific spot, one specific pitch, but also my barrel covers a lot of the plate. And it's also the ability to do it here in those same counts But you can see him using the middle of the field, too. That's what I love about Kerry Carpenter's. We think a lot pool side. Yes, we want to get to the pool side, but also being able to stay through the middle of the field, use the big part of the field is just as important. And when we're breaking down swings, we're thinking about staying short to the baseball. We're thinking about getting in a position to where we can produce power. And you think about slugging leaders and non-pitchers counts that I was just talking about through the start of 2023, all the way through May 2025. He's up there with the best. Ohtani and Judge, he's right in the middle of Seager, Martinez. You're talking about some of these guys that have mastered their swing. He's mastered the ability to get in those counts. But also, it's not just that. He's mastered the ability to pull the ball in the air. When we practice as hitters, yes, we practice making sure we can hit every pitch, but, when pitcher makes that mistake, I need to be able to pull it and get it in the air, be able to get some launch angle to it. And there's a natural lean. You see the statistics on pull-up fastballs since the start of 23 through May 2025. Look at the rest of the league. The MLB average, 483. He's at 582. Slugging, he's way above league average. And then one of the reasons why he's gotten there, he's starting to open up. 2023, you see him just a little bit open. 2024, he's opened up a little bit more. And then even more so in 2025. So the ability to almost get the hips open to be in a position where you can drive something. Here's a shot from him from the side. He's got a natural lean, and he stays behind the baseball so well. That's why he's got so much bat speed, is he's able to stay behind it, head stays still, does a great job with the swing. But you asked me, what young players can learn from it. It's not just about the swing. It's about making sure I'm being smart about my mental approach. I'm not swinging at everything. I go with my A-hack, especially when I get to count leverage as a hitter. And that's what Kerry Carpenter's done for ever since he's gotten to the big leagues.
You saw the company that he's keeping with those hitters counts. It's not a coincidence that all of those players are at the top of their game, are perennial MVPs, because they work so hard and there's so much discipline at the plate. By the way, not exactly a coincidence that he came off the IL on August 13th after missing 2.5 months last season. The Tigers have had the best record in baseball since. Oh man, that's so tough. I believe this past week was the 15th anniversary of that. We'll just call it a blown call because it was. But you saw the emotion on the face of Jim Joyce. Colorado also handled it with so much poise. By the way,
definitely.
MLB Network's own Alex Avila was the backstop for that game.
That is crazy. I didn't even realize that until you brought that up a little earlier.
Baby-faced Alex Avila. He's a grown man now.
Man. Well, I just think about, obviously, how special of a moment that would have been, but also the accountability afterwards and how it was handled by both sides. I think it is worth celebrating and acknowledging.
I completely agree. I think, and both handled it with so much grace, poise, and class. And I mean, if they had replay back then, it wouldn't have been an issue.
Facts.
And he got the very next hitter out, which was even more impressive, just to show the poise. So in your mind, though, X, was that the biggest controversy?
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Yankees went on to win 5-4. 5-4. Bernie Williams hits the walk-off homer in the 11th, and the Yankees win the series in 5, and they go on to win the World Series. So, that was kind of, you could say, the turning point in that entire series. So, that was a tough one. Really
but you can't get off the hook that easy because, look, 2007, your Rockies.
You don't need to bring this up.
Game 163.
You don't need to bring this up.
Matt Holliday, my former teammate, Jake Peavy was on the bump this game. Our colleague, look at Holliday.
That. Gosh,
come on, was he safe?
Yeah, of course he was safe. I'm a Rockies fan.
Did he even touch the plate?
Doesn't matter. It's Matt Holliday.
Isn't that a part of the game?
Look, they're celebrating.
Don't you have to touch the plate?
There was a lot of dirt in the vicinity. You can't tell. You can't tell. That was a tough one. I remember that. Everything was going on in downtown Denver at the same time, and that was when I was a Denver Broncos cheerleader. I just aged myself, and so we were like, "This is amazing." We had our games. We were paying attention. We're like, "Oh my God, Matt Holliday!" And then it was, It still happened. It still happened. I did that play. Oh my God, Denver was out of control.
Dang.
Out of control. It was nuts. Hey, we're all about the swag in this team. Like, obviously, I had the swag when I went out in Denver. You want to talk about some swag for Francisco Lindor? You want to pull this out?
Yes. I forgot about these.
I know. This is so fun.
Thank you for reminding me.
Francisco Lindor, Mr. Smiles, channels his personality and flair. These new limited edition custom batting gloves. Now they're crafted vibrant green, Apple Pro stock leather, and feature his unique one-of-a-kind secure fit closure tabs. If you want to show that off, if you're listening on the podcast, check us out on YouTube, Mlb.tv, because these batting gloves
Limited
are
edition.
Unbelievable.
If they can zoom in, there's like a smile. It's his logo.
That's
it's
so
a
cool.
Smile with the F and the L.
I love it. And you're a Franklin guy.
That's wild.
Aren't those amazing?
Yes, Franklin. Hey, that's why I love Franklin. I've been with Franklin since day one. They take care of business.
You know, Francisco Lindor, this could be one of the reasons why he is kind of a perennial MVP candidate, even though I feel like he gets buried even on his own team right now. Pete Alonso, obviously Juan Soto making headlines, but Francisco Lindor, perennial.
Just quietly goes about
MVP contender.
He's
amazing.
And defensively, like, as about as solid as it gets at shortstop.
He really is.
Instant offense, first hit, but he's the guy.
It's a consistency. And at the plate, it must be the Franklin batting gloves. That's so fun. I want to design my own batting gloves.
You should.
That'd be awesome. Did you ever design yours? They'd be red and...
I wasn't good enough quite to
well,
design my own.
You have the East-West game coming up pretty soon. Maybe
maybe I need to talk to Franklin. I need to talk to Franklin.
That would be awesome.
What is this, kid size right here?
Yeah, but try them on. While you try those on, we're going to say goodbye. That's all the time we have here on Off Base. Be sure to check us out, MLB Network, 11 a.m. on Sundays, MLB.tv, wherever you get your podcasts, and, of course, YouTube. We'll see you next week. They fit.
They're kind of small.
They look a little snug. You can't close them. We'll see you next week.
I think that the defensive side is important too. But look, the travel, as we see the most home runs in single season by a catcher, 48 by Salvi. Cal Raleigh plays for 60 or more.
That's wild. Like huge discrepancy, right? And it doesn't happen that often that you have these guys, making history. Right.
So, and you think about the names, Bench, Lopez, Campanella, like, come on. Some of this stuff is ridiculous as far as what we're seeing him do. But also think about playing in Seattle, how tough it is hitting there at T-Mobile.
Pitcher's Park.
Yeah, that's one of the toughest parks that guys say, man, I just feel defeated after playing there. And then the same thing going for the travel. You have the worst travel in Seattle. So making sure that you're always recovery is on point. Like, I think about those external factors.
And he's playing nearly every day, right? When he's not behind the plate, he's DHing. So he's still showing up to the ballpark and putting in the work when most backstops are getting the day off because they need the rest, rightfully so.
Right.
So how will that factor into the argument, and what does Aaron Judge need to do in order to be the hands-down MVP where the argument doesn't even exist?
See, this is the thing. Like, I think he deserves to be in the argument, but Judge is so far ahead at because think about all the numbers he's leading in, whether it be on base, whether it be him, his batting average, 100 some odd points higher than Big Dumper.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we don't even talk about batting average like that, but it tells you the complete player Judge is right now and how impossible it is to get him out. You talked about the historic factor of Big Dumper. I'm thinking the same thing, Aaron Judge. If there is no Aaron Judge, then, okay, maybe a shoe-in at this point.
Shoe-in. I completely agree with you. And if you want to get into the semantics of, the definition of an MVP, the most valuable player.
Go ahead.
Just throwing that out there. If Aaron Judge is removed from that Yankees lineup, then where are the Yankees? If you want to talk about who is the most valuable player to their team, without Aaron Judge, in my opinion, I don't think the Yankees are where they are.
That's a great point. I mean, it's hard to even think about guys like Goldie, Bellinger having the years that they're having, even Jazz coming back into the fold now after his injury. The pitchers having the support that they have from an offensive standpoint. You're right. But the same can be said for Cal, right? Like, are the Seattle Mariners even have a chance for the AL West? I don't think so. There's no way, especially with how clutch he's been, too.
So have either of us really taken a stand here?
No, but...
We've just made, great arguments for both sides.
we just love both guys.
I really do. I don't know if I could choose a side. It's still so early. There's still over a month even before the All-Star game.
But what I do like is you said All-Star game. Maybe Cal's for sure his first, right? Judge already got 6 of them in the bag. Like, we can celebrate both and understand how special both players are and appreciate this idea that we now have a catcher in this conversation, and there hasn't been that in a minute.
Rarefied air, and to me, sometimes something that's a little bit more unique,
different,
is more attractive in terms of an option because
it makes you think.
We've been spoiled by Judge. We get used to it, and what we're seeing is again historic, but we're seeing this year in year in and you're out. There we go.
Judge
English can be tough at times. Exactly.
Time, right?
So sometimes it's fun to mix it up.
Yeah.
So maybe that could give
some Dumper in there.
It could give Cal the edge, and like you said, Cal could